And now for a chapter out of the book called The Best Laid Plans of Men and Mice. When we left things off in the last episode, we were about to cut a mantle and a couple of 6x6s out of that block of wood. We had talked a little bit about a plan in a prior episode, and then we talked about exactly how that's all going to be squared up. Well, things came to a grinding halt. And when I say grinding halt, I really mean grinding halt. I was in the process of raising the saw head and everything stopped. So there's the little saw head motor, pretty substantial size, little electric over worm feed mechanism. And down over here, we have the mechanism and the motor for moving the auto feed, or the carriage, if we want to call it that, back and forth on the rails. Literally motionless. So, quick investigation, and I discovered that this wiring right here, since patched, had gotten caught up in the lift mechanism. There we go, the lift mechanism. How that happened, I'm not sure. But if we take a look at it, the wiring on this is a total mess. The emergency stop mechanism died a long time ago, and I really just need to cut the wiring out from around that. And we've added lights, so you can see the wires running all over on that. I've added a battery charger, and I'm just going to go upstairs here, and we'll take a quick look. So we've got battery charger. That is pretty much what an acquaintance of mine used to refer to as a dog's breakfast. And we've even run some lights here along the top for late afternoon operation in the winter months. And at issue is the fact that there's really no wiring channel. So I'm going to put some conduits in. We just can't have a little episode like that happening again. And so we've run the wiring, I'd like to say, as best we can. Obviously, there's always a better way to do things. But man, it would have been terrific. As you just look at, just as one representative example, we have a really sweet piece of tubing going down there. And I don't understand, maybe there's a good reason, as to why there isn't a hole in that tubing that allows one to feed wire through to the opposite side. That would have cured a lot of issues. Likewise, here, where I've got wiring running all the way down, there could be a number of exit and entry points, it would seem to me, without compromising the structural integrity. Sorry, I just ended up swiveling that whole thing, but you get the point. Just run that past again. And that would contain a lot of that wiring mess. So that's going to be a job. After I get through this next series of cuts, we'll show you the end result in an upcoming episode. Of course, when I reconnected the wires there, nothing worked. So just in case you ever find yourself in that situation, that kind of situation appears to have been anticipated. So I'm just going to take off a screw here that I just left to hold things in. And there's our little panel. And what had happened was those two 25 amp breakers had blown and kept everything inside the solid state circuitry in here intact, unharmed. It did its job. Congratulations to the folks at Norwood and their outsourced suppliers, whoever builds these boxes, for having built them carefully and thoughtfully, and replaced a couple of fuses, and we're back in business. But front to back, including the troubleshooting, untangling, and the hunt for fuses, it took a couple hours out of my life. So here we go. We're back to cutting. Just before I cap off this segment, I just want to say that this Douglas fir, it's reasonably dry, and it's a little tough on blades. I noticed on the very last cut, the camera's not going to pick it up, but I did have a couple of dives along here. So that's why I'm going to take a 1-inch slice off the top to correct that. I've thrown another new blade on. I probably only did a dozen, it wouldn't even have been a dozen cuts on this particular log. And I was amazed. I felt the teeth on the blade, and they were as dull could be. And that's even after the debarking process I went through. So we're going to take that slice off the top, and thumbs up, and we'll get this job done.